right. Well, welcome. We are glad you're able to join us for our virtual event, and we're super excited to be able to share a little bit about our dual nursing program and nursing at Gordon with you. By way of introductions, my name is Dr. Sean Clark. I am a professor and program director in the kinesiology here at Gordon. I'm also the director for the undergraduate health professions program. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Patricia Lowry, and she'll give a quick hello, and then we'll start our program.
Greetings. We're so happy you could join us this evening. We've been looking forward to speaking with you in a more direct way. My name's Patricia Lowry. I'm the newly appointed coordinator for the dual degree program at Gordon College.
All right. We want to, as we begin, one of the things that we want to do is we want to kind of just share with you a little bit of details about the dual nursing program at Gordon, and then also to leave some time for question and answer. So we're hoping that the talk today and our sharing kind of is able to provide the information that you are looking for in kind of somewhat of an informal way, hopefully. But we also do want to let you know that there is a managed Q&A, there's a question and answer box for you to be able to share questions. We want to point that out to you now so that you can begin thinking about questions, and then you can share them with us as we're moving through our talk, and then certainly at the end we'll be able to address them. So as we want to point out to begin with, I think a lot of times as people think about nursing at Gordon, one of the things I wanted to share was that Gordon has a strong track record of placing students into nursing programs. We've had students over a number of years who've been accepted into programs like Curry, accelerated post-baccalaureate nursing programs, other bachelor programs, and we've also had a number of students accepted into direct entry master's level programs. So we, again, have a good track record of that, and we're preparing students well for the directions they want to be heading. So I did want to point that out and wanted to share with you a quick quote here from one of our graduates. This is a graduate from kinesiology in 2016. After graduating, he went on to the University of Connecticut and did an accelerated post-baccalaureate program there, and now works down in one of the city hospitals down in Boston in a surgical specialties floor. And I wanted to point out this quote that he had shared with us. He says, "On a vocational level, nursing is at its core part of my lived theology. Scripture, as I see it, is one big story about how God works in the messiest of situations to bring redemption to every corner of the earth and every part of our lives. Nurses are, in some ways, involved in every stage of life as well. I see redemption when a patient's eyes light up at seeing their family on FaceTime after a month of being sedated. I feel redemption when I sit alone at the bedside alone with a patient as they transition from this life to life eternal." We thought it would be good to bring this up because I think one of the things from this quote that it highlights are several, I think, key things. One is that as you're thinking or considering nursing as a potential career path, one of the things to give thought to is this the vocational calling? Is this the calling on my life that God has for me, where I see my opportunity to impact, to serve him, and to have significant impact in the world, in a place that you can fill those gaps? So I think Andrew brings that out really nicely as he talks about at a vocational level. This connects into who he is. It's one of the things I've appreciated. Andrew was my advisee. It's very much the character of Andrew to be sharing those things. The other, I think, is it talks about nursing and where nursing impacts. That place where nursing is involved in that redemptive story. Often we find nurses are the ones standing in the gap for us. They're the ones who are providing hospitality and care. They're the ones that are filled with compassion, that are taking on some of the more difficult tasks. And Andrew was right there during COVID, and that's what he's referring to. So I think one of the things we did want to point out was that place of, is this the place, the calling for you? Nursing certainly is stepping into that place where it's filling those gaps. And then also to be thinking about that, the nature of redemption as believers, our calling is to redeem things. So those are some of those key threads that I think hopefully you hear. They're certainly part of our experience at Gordon. As we think about classroom experiences, as we train students, as we interact with students, these are things that are at the core, I think, of who we are as an institution, and certainly for those who are moving through the nursing program. So given that we've had this kind of track record with nursing, one of the questions that may come up is, where did the dual nursing program come from? And I think at Gordon, one of the things that we were experiencing is we have a lot of students who are prospective students who are connecting with us and saying, this is the direction I want to go. I feel that I want to become a nurse, but I'm just not sure if Gordon is the right place because I'm not sure I want to do an undergrad and then transition off into a post-baccalaureate program. Why don't I just go directly in to a nursing program? And I think one of the things that we were experiencing is, given the nature of the current students and that being part of their story or in their interest, what we wanted to do is partner with a program like Curry. So we partnered with Curry in order to be able to provide that opportunity for students to be able to finish their degree and to be able to be well positioned for practicing as an RN within 4 years. So we were looking at what is a creative way, rather than Gordon launching its own nursing program, how can we best leverage the things that we do well with another institution that's doing an exceptional job in preparing nurses for their career paths. So that is where we initially began, and we, in our agreement with them, we call it a Memorandum of Understanding, the OMU, became effective, as you can see here, in December of 2018. And then after that became a formal relationship established. We brought in our first cohorts of students in the fall of 2019. And then this fall, we accepted in our second cohort of students. So we're really excited that we have a grouping of students who are now tracking through Gordon, who are part of the dual nursing program, that are being prepared to head off to Curry in a very short time to finish up so that they can move in the directions that they want to move into. One of the other things that we were really excited and able to do is we brought on a program coordinator, Patricia. We brought her on in November of 2020 to kind of really cement a lot of what is going on with our program in particular, to be able to come alongside students, to share with them her experience as a nurse, and also to hear their concerns, to encourage them, and to be part of their journey with them. So I'm going to let Patricia take a little bit here, and then we'll continue moving through some of our slides.
Great. Well, as Sean alluded to, I have many years of experience as a nurse educator and also in bedside nursing. So this really prepared me nicely to come in as coordinator for this program. So I'm part working with colleagues at Gordon and in part working with colleagues at Curry, trying to just smooth the path that our students will be transitioning in really just a short time from Gordon College to the Curry College campus. We have an excellent foundation for nursing at Gordon, with either a major in kinesiology or biology for students in the dual degree program. As you know, if you're interested in nursing, Science Foundation is just the building blocks of nursing. It is an art and a science. The science is rigorous, and I know that Sean would absolutely agree that anyone studying biology or kinesiology has a very serious study schedule. They have a lot of heavy-duty courses, but it's their bread and butter. They love it. And nursing is built upon this. So these students in the dual degree program are going to achieve a Bachelor's of Science in either biology or kinesiology in 3.5 years, or 3 years and summer. This is, it makes it just a little more intense. But these are, in our 2 cohorts that we've admitted, these are students who are just very motivated. This is what they want. And they're serious, and they take off. This is a program that is not for everybody. It's for the students who know this is what they want. They want nursing, and they want the experience of being at a Christian college like Gordon. They want that community of Christians. To be able to be immersed in the Gordon community is such a blessing. To have professors who pray with you before and after class, at the beginning and ending of class. I mean, it thrills me to have counselors and advisors who pray for their students, not just with their students, but for their students, wanting the very best, not just academically, but spiritually, holistically for the student. This is promoting the kingdom. This is kingdom work. And it's just thrilling to be a little part of this. I love nursing, but my nursing education has been in a secular community college for many years. And although I had several colleagues in the nursing department who were also devout Christians and would pray with students, it was not the umbrella experience. It was the individual. This is college campus wide. This is your community that comes around you, that's with you, that wants what's best for you, which is what the Lord wants for you. Nothing less than his best. It's a rigorous undertaking, but it's so supported. It's so well planned out and executed. You have several courses that you take as a part of your major in biology or kinesiology that are also prerequisites that Curry requires. And they are Anatomy and Physiology 1, Anatomy and Physiology 2, Microbiology, and Chemistry 1. This is all on the slide. Are we on that slide, Sean?
Yes.
Super. And there are 2 more courses that Curry requires that can also be utilized to fulfill core requirements at Gordon. And they are biostatistics and a psychology course, which is a lifespan, health across the lifespan course. So there are a total of 6 courses that Curry requires that you must have before you graduate at Gordon and come to Curry. In the 4 science courses, they insist that you have at least a B- or better in those science courses. And at graduation, you must have a minimum of a 3.0 GPA to progress to Curry. While you're at Gordon, in your second year, you'll begin the first of 4 online courses that Curry offers. This is health policy to start, and then nursing research, then pathophysiology, yum, 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 so much fun, and pharmacology. And they are exciting courses because they're actually oriented to nursing, and they're your nursing courses, and it's really very fun when you get to do that. So this is the specialized courses that Curry says you must have. But the science courses are also required, by both biology and kinesiology. So they're not anything different than that. You have, ideally, the ability to complete 48 credit hours, graduating in 3 years, some summers, from Gordon with a Bachelor's of Science. That's pretty impressive. 3 years, you're done, and off to Curry you go. Curry is located just outside of Boston. They have a very respected history of nursing. They have a philosophy. Their college philosophy is actually very similar to Gordon, and we are a good fit together. The Curry campus is just, I think, 8 miles outside of Boston, very close. And they use all of the top Boston hospitals as their clinical sites, including Brigham and Women's, Boston Children's, which is considered the Mecca of children's hospitals. I have never seen anything to compare to it. It is phenomenal. And of course, Mass General, Beth Israel, I believe, is another one. They are phenomenal opportunities to have clinical sites at these hospitals, which is a very competitive thing for schools to get their sites there. So the fact that Curry has clinical sites at these institutions is very impressive. It is thrilling to me to think that you'll get to have hands-on experience in these prestigious hospitals. Just so exciting to me. If you should come into Gordon with some AP courses or some transfer courses, or maybe test out of your language requirement, you might not have to do summers, but most will. So we have lots of possibilities, but the average student is going to be going to school in the summers to graduate in 3 years. Okay. Sean, can I talk about the 4-year thing now or later?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay. We are working on a second track in the dual degree program that will allow students to have a slightly less intense, condensed program so that a 4-year graduation would also give you a reserved seat at Curry, a direct admission to Curry. So right now we have a 3-year, I should hold up 3 fingers, right? 3-year with direct admission to Curry, but we're also looking at, and I think we are all very favorable, thinking very favorably, that having a second track that's just slightly less intense would be a nice option for many students. So that's in the works. More about that later. Okay. I think we can move to the next slide.
Okay. Real quickly, if I can jump in, one of the other benefits of the 3.5 or potential going to a 4-year for a student is that it allows for a little bit more flexibility where you may be able to study abroad. We may be able to fit in a minor or some other activities or some other key things that you may want to participate in that are a little bit more challenging to accomplish in a tighter 3-year window. So it's the additional time, the 3.5 to the 4-year, is going to be beneficial, not just for those where the academic rigor may be a little more challenging, but it's also for the students who want to have those additional opportunities, who are enjoying their time at Gordon, maybe want to play sport for one more semester, or like I said, maybe thinking about an internship or potentially a minor or maybe a double major. So there's a little bit of flexibility with that. Patty, we are heading over to the slide now that talks about the direct admission into Curry's program with the 16 months. So I think you've covered that. We talked about the completion of the prerequisites, the minimum GPA of 3.0. So now maybe we can talk a little bit about why the dual nursing program versus other traditional baccalaureate programs.
Excellent. I think you have covered a little bit of this ground by in your explanation of our history of preparing students well to go into nursing following their graduation from Gordon. But when you are considering our dual degree program at Gordon and trying to weigh it against a traditional 4-year baccalaureate program, I think the most important distinction for you who are looking at a Christian college is that clearly you're interested in this Christian college environment. You're searching, you're looking for that. You're looking to have the grounding in God's word as you prepare to launch into your life and your career. To have a traditional 4-year baccalaureate school of nursing, you would be at a secular college or university, and you would most likely get a very good education. And most likely you would be reasonably well prepared to begin your career as a nurse, to sit for the NCLEX exam, which is a national standardized, computerized exam that upon passing makes you an RN or a registered nurse. Until then, you are a graduate nurse, but you're not an RN, you're not a registered nurse. Okay, so if you have a education by an accredited school of nursing, you have a reasonable expectation that you will be well prepared to be a nurse. But will your life be as well prepared to serve the Lord and to serve others? Will you have your career built upon a rock and not shifting sand that will hold no matter what storms you move through or experience or your family moves through? I think that's why you're looking at a Christian college. I think that's why you're considering a Christian college, because you know this is invaluable. What this offers you and the family that you will have someday, it's priceless. It's priceless. So I really can say very honestly, having gone to a 4-year baccalaureate program at a large university with a Big Ten football team and the whole thing, it's great. I got a good education. And because I was just seeking it, I also had a Christian community to surround myself with. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't, built in for me. I think if you have the option of being in community in a Christian college, that is just so hand in hand with a career in health, in the health field, whether it's nursing or medicine or physical therapy, kinesiology, whatever it is, you are the hands and feet of Jesus. And it just is going to give you all of the word of the Lord to write on your heart so that you have that in your service. I think that you also want to be very clear about one thing, and that is the dual degree program offers you direct admission into an accelerated nursing program. You don't have to apply. You're done. You're admitted. As long as you have the 3.0 upon graduation, the 48 credit hours, you graduate with a bachelor's in biology or kinesiology. Those are your requirements for Curry. You're already admitted. It's a very competitive admission process out there for nursing school. And having sat on admissions committees for many, almost 30 years in nursing school, it's just heartbreaking because we always had to turn so many students away. No wait list. They just came back the next year fresh. And some students would apply multiple years. Some would not get in and go somewhere else, but others would just come back again and again. It was just, there's no guarantee. You can be a very attractive student with a solid GPA, but maybe you don't test well, or who knows. You get in a cohort that just has incredibly strong academic records. You know, they're all 4.0s. Well, how are you supposed to compete with that? Especially if they didn't have a biology major or a kinesiology major. Maybe they're a liberal arts major and they didn't have the same rigor in their coursework as you. How do you compete with that? That's chancy. You just don't know. No guarantees there. But with our dual degree program, you have a guarantee. You're in. You don't have to apply. That's nice. Sean, is there anything you want to add to that?
I think one of the things that I might jump in with also is that I think in addition, I think our faculty in our classes, we certainly are integrating our faith into our coursework. But one of the things I would say is not at the sacrifice of the quality of our coursework. Yeah. So the quality of the coursework that we're providing and the challenge that it provides to the student and the preparation that it provides for students, I think is super valuable. One of the things, as a faculty member that I appreciate the most is when I get emails from the student a year or two after they graduate where they're thanking us for the preparation that they had for the program that they're in. So one of the things that we often share with our students is, I have an interest in you getting into a nursing program, or I have an interest in you getting into potentially a physician assistant or maybe physical therapy. I have an interest there, but my real interest is in you being a successful practicing healthcare professional and being successful in your program. So we want to make sure that you are competent when you're leaving Gordon so that you are able to excel in the program that you're in so that you can then take that to the healthcare fields wherever you ultimately are practicing. And again, as Patty had mentioned, and through all of that, we're dovetailing and weaving in questions related to faith, questions maybe related to what does it mean to be a follower of Christ dealing with people who are suffering? What does it mean to have compassion, hospitality, some of those sorts of things? So we bring those in, but I would say in addition, the quality of the actual coursework content is exceptional, as well as the opportunity for experiences in labs and research with faculty. So we'd probably highlight those as well. Patty, can you talk a little bit about Curry's program in terms of, I think one of the other benefits that we were looking at was cost savings, the 2 bachelor's degrees. Yeah. Could you comment on that?
Definitely. When you have graduated from Gordon in 3.5 years, 3 years plus summers, you have a bachelor's of science. You have direct admission to Curry College, and you enter a 16-month accelerated program of nursing studies. And that's straight through. That's You don't have a summer off or anything. You just go for the next 16 months through school. You have then, when you complete that 16 months, another bachelor's. You have a bachelor's of science with a major in nursing, with a concentration in nursing. So you now have, in just over 4 years, 2 bachelor degrees. You have 2 degrees. Now, you would, in the, I guess, real world, I don't know what else to call it, you would have 8 years to take 2 degrees. I mean, you might do a degree and a minor, but to do 2 degrees in 4.5 years is very unusual, very special. So if you did the cost analysis, and believe me, someone has done this, but it wasn't me. If you did the cost of analysis of how long it would take you and the money that would be involved to achieve 2 degrees, it would be quite a lot. This is a tremendous cost savings to be able to achieve your degree in biology or kinesiology in 3 years, and then 16 months later have a second degree, be sitting to take your NCLEX exam, become an RN, and boom, you're ready to enter the job market. And people are beating down your door because they're so eager for nurses. They're so desperate for nurses. And you really have a huge variety of roles to follow. You can do so many different things with a bachelor's of science, an RN. You have, the sky is the limit. I really have never regretted for a second studying nursing. It was one of the best decisions I ever made. And it was in high school when I was very seriously considering medicine that I spent some time volunteering in the hospital. And once I spent time on the floor and saw what nurses did and compared it to what I saw the physicians doing, I thought, well, I don't want to be a physician. I want to be a nurse. I want to do what they're doing. This is the great stuff. I want to be where the patients are. I don't want to come and go. I want to be right here. And I've done so many different things. And I've just, each time kind of had a little aha, like, wow, this is great. I didn't know I could do this. It's just so much fun. It's so incredibly humbling and incredibly heady at the same time to see a baby born or to see someone pass from this life to the next. It's to be allowed into that very intimate setting, stand with family members and witness these precious moments is such an honor. And because you're the nurse, you come right in. They want you, they welcome you. You are brought right into the inner circle of their family. I am richer by far than I ever could have imagined because of the experiences that families have shared with me. Even thanked me, after they lost a precious child, or, when you can't speak because you're crying and they just hug you. They're so grateful because they know that you cared, that you share in their feelings. Money can't buy that. Nurses are well paid, I'm happy to say, but you can't, no one can pay you enough to have these feelings. They're just so precious. And I just think that nursing is a fabulous profession, and I welcome you to it those who are seriously considering it. So we have several wonderful advantages with the dual degree program. And one is that you can achieve 2 degrees in 4.5 years, and that you have direct admission to a nursing program, and that you have considerable financial savings. Sean, what have I missed?
I think you are hitting right on all of them. Patty, we do have a question that I think you could kind of dovetail into this.
Okay.
One of the question was asking about if we could comment on how the atmosphere and philosophy of Curry comports with Gordon's philosophy of education.
Why
You
not?
touched on that a little bit earlier with the kind of the philosophies. Could you kind of maybe build on that a little bit?
I'm going to have to be honest. I can say that I don't want to just fudge my way through this and pretend I know more than I do, because that would not be the right thing. I know that their philosophies are similar, but I can't say that I know Curry's philosophy intimately enough to really comment. I know that, they're a secular college. They have the philosophy of certainly honoring the student and the learning. They're learning oriented, but I can't really go beyond that. So
Okay.
I will endeavor to learn more about it, though.
There you go. And from our conversations with folks at Curry, we also do get a strong sense of, I think as Patty had mentioned, their commitment to students, kind of that cohort, the community of learners, that it's not a cutthroat approach, but they're really fostering a group of students who encourage each other, who learn together and who excel together. That is partly leads into one of the other questions in terms of the graduation, the passing rate for graduates from Curry for their nursing boards. And Curry on their website, they're reporting that they have 94% passing rate, which is quite notable. It's a strong passing rate. And again, I think some of that, when you think about it, is really that individual's preparation, both what is Curry providing for them, but also what are they bringing into that program, and the strength of their training heading in. So my guess would be is that the Gordon students would be doing at least comparably well to 94. My guess is potentially even stronger, given the background that they're receiving. So, great questions.
Yes.
One of the other questions, Patty, can you share a little bit about what is that transition like for students who head to Curry? Are they living on campus there? Do they commute? What does that transition period look like?
Okay. These are questions that come up frequently. Students want to know, well, what happens when I go to Curry? Do I still live on the Gordon campus? No. Do I live on the Curry campus? Not at this time, at this point in time, because I asked recently about this. Curry has no housing for their students in the accelerated program. So you would have an apartment, perhaps with a friend or two in the cohort, or friends from Gordon. So there's no provision for housing once you become a member of the accelerated cohort.
Okay. What about financial aid at Curry? Is there anything you could comment on in terms of financial aid with dual degree students?
Well, I will back up a tiny bit to clarify that the 4 Curry courses that you take while you're at Gordon, they're online courses, those are billed back to Gordon College. Mm-hmm. Curry bills Gordon. And so Gordon taps any scholarship or financial aid that the student has. So they are not independently billed to the student. So that's actually a really big point, a really important point. Once you're at Curry, you're, again, going to be looking into scholarships and financial aid. It will not carry over from Gordon. It's separate.
Right.
Also, very important, Curry wanted me to be sure and say this. This is an accelerated program. It's intense, and you should not expect to work while you're in the accelerated program. That 16 months is just work, eat, sleep, study, work, eat, sleep, meaning work at the hospital and the lab, eat, sleep.
One of our other questions I could probably field is, do you go to summer school for all 3 years at Gordon and then another summer at Curry? So then again, that would depend on the background that the student is bringing. So typically the way we've designed the program, we've made an assumption that students coming into the dual degree program do not have any AP credit, no dual enrollment credit, no transfer credit. So that's kind of our operating assumption so that we could make sure that we could fit courses in within that 3-year window. So if a student is coming to Gordon in the dual degree program, but has AP credit or has dual enrollment or transfer credit, then what we can do is we can begin to work that so that maybe we don't need to take courses at least one summer or potentially 2 summers at Gordon. So the summers are there kind of as placeholders if they're needed in order to fulfill the requirements for graduation. But if if credit is coming in, then no, you wouldn't need to use all 3 summers. Curry's program does include a summer because it's year round once you begin for those 16 months. Another question I could answer also is, do biology and kinesiology students get to use the cadaver labs? So as part of the program, as the courses are lined up for your time at Gordon, yes, we've built in the opportunity for that so that you can have kind of that experience in an advanced human anatomy course, which I think is a super exceptional opportunity for students to have.
Indeed.
Questions. Some of the questions also are relating to when we transition to Curry, will housing be taken off the tuition? So my understanding of that question is you would be transitioning to Curry. Once you finish at Gordon with your 3 years, you're essentially completed, you've graduated. And then from there, your interactions, you have the unique opportunity to have a direct entry. You have a secured seat, but from there on, it's Curry tuition. It's your financial aid or any scholarships or anything would need to be worked out with Curry. And then you're also housing and any other of the incidentals would also be worked out with Curry. You see, here's other questions. How many students are typically admitted into the program? Was another question.
Dual degree program?
Yes. Do you want to take that one?
No, I'm going to let you take that one.
That one? Okay. So one of the things right now is we are accepting students into the program. We don't necessarily have a hard and firm cap on that. I think one of the things that as we're looking at accepting students, we can probably move to the next slide would be helpful. As we think about who is going to be accepted into the program, one of the things that we want to do is to make sure that we're accepting students in who will be successful. So again, and part of that success is we want to make sure that you have the preparation coming into to biology, kinesiology, and as Patty mentioned, the rigor of those in order to be able to excel in something that is an accelerated program. So typically we're looking for students who've had a minimum cumulative GPA of 3.5 or something close to that. If you're able to take your SATs or ACT exams, we're looking at scores upwards of 1100 with strong scores in the math side of it. Then and again, those are not exclusive. Part of those are, again, some of the things that we just use kind of as a gauge to see how well are you doing in some of your science background, those courses, to make sure you're well prepared for doing well in kinesiology or doing well in biology so that you can track through. We're also interested in you as a whole person. What are some of the other things that you've been connected to? Are you more learning oriented versus just grade oriented? What is it about some of the additional activities maybe that you've participated in? Why are you interested in pursuing this? So we're looking for fit. We're looking to make sure students are well prepared. But I also want to say, if you're looking at this list and you're saying, oh man, I'm not a minimum cumulative GPA of 3.5, or I don't have an SAT score in that range, I do want to encourage you to continue to look at Gordon. Maybe the Curry program that's accelerated may not be the best fit, but we may be able to look at the Curry program that is a 4-year program. Or there may be other programs, accelerated post-baccalaureate nursing programs that may be better for you. So there's flexibility in the way that you track into nursing. So one of the things we want to make sure we convey is that Curry will be an excellent fit for many people. It's not the best fit for all students coming to Gordon who want to pursue nursing. And I think that's partly one of the reasons we launched with our strong track record, that we have students who are still getting into different programs. Curry may not be near your house. You may be wanting to go to a program closer to home to save on potentially housing costs. So in that situation, Curry may not be the best fit, but we can still move you through a similar type accelerated coursework so you could finish in 3 years or 3.5 years. So that the accelerated side is something you can always consider for cost savings. I think we've caught many of the questions that have come through. Maybe we can pause for just another moment or two to see if anything else comes in. And again, I think one of the things as a faculty member teaching in the program, I think one of the things that I would say, tracking through, and I can speak specifically for kinesiology, is that our students are well grounded in their understanding of human anatomy and physiology. And I think that's one of the things that Gordon provides that is a strength. And you will begin to be taught to think clinically even prior to your coursework at Curry. So the nature of how we approach our studies are going to ground you well in your understanding theoretical and practical application, which you then carry over into your program. Because one of the things that is, as an advisor, that's important to me as I send students into their programs is one of the reasons I really want my advisees, our students at Gordon, collectively to be well prepared is because when you step into that next program, when you stand out early, that positions you well for the clinical placements of interest. It begins to set you apart from the rest of the group as having something that's unique and different that you're bringing into your program. And faculty will recognize that. In the clinical placements, they see that. And that's especially important. And it also allows you to come in with a level of confidence. It's not necessarily the nursing program, but I had a student who contacted me who was in a doctoral program in physical therapy. And in her first coursework was gross anatomy. And she said, we walked in, the cadaver was on a table. I was there with 3 or 4 other students, and they were all just looking at each other. And I said, hand me the scalpel. I've done this before. I have a level of confidence that she brought into that experience. And that's one of the things that we think is really important for our students. One other question, a student is interested in playing sports. Do you think it's something they can still do with this program? And I can field that. I would say we've had numerous students come through Gordon who played sports, who are in a variety of different health professions tracks. So we've had students who are two-sport athletes who went to med school, physician assistant programs, nursing, masters of nursing programs, accelerated programs. So yes, I think you will be able to do that. Again, I think one of the things it's going to come down to is a level of academic discipline, how well you discipline your time to be able to play sport and also get your coursework done. I think one of the benefits of a program like this is that you need to do well, especially in those 4 science courses. There's not a lot of wiggle room with that. But if you were to be looking at playing sport, doing a similar program, studying biology, kinesiology, if it was elsewhere, you're going to need to have a pretty strong cumulative GPA to get into an accelerated post-baccalaureate program. What this allows for is that 3.0 minimum that Curry allows us to have students come in with, leaves a little bit of room that your grades, I'm not going to say don't need to be excellent, they just don't need to be as excellent. So we still want you to do well, but it will give you a little bit of flexibility. So do you think you could play 2 sports and can stay in the program? Certainly. I would encourage that, especially if you're able to bring AP credits, if you're able to bring those transfer credits, dual enrollment credits. That all helps with creating space, and in the summer program is helpful in that regard.
Indeed.
All right. Any parting thoughts, Patty, that you may want to add?
Well, one small point that I want to emphasize is that I'm available to answer questions, to discuss, to listen. And my contact information is on the website for the dual degree program, but it's pretty simple. It's just patricia.lowry@gordon.edu. And the P in Patricia is capitalized. The L in Lowry is capitalized. Gordon is not capitalized. So Lowry is spelled Lowry. And I'm happy to hear from you. And I try to turn around my responses quickly so that you know that I've received something from you and that I am here listening. Hello, I'm listening.
Great. Well, we certainly have appreciated the opportunity to be able to share with you a little bit about the dual nursing program at Gordon, and nursing at Gordon in its wholeness. You've got a chance to hear a little bit about our preparation for how we prepare students, a little bit about some of the details and the expectations that we associate that are associated with the dual degree program. You've got to hear a little bit about a personal experience of the passion that nurses have for their profession. Certainly one of those things that you experience time and time again. So again, we're thankful that you were willing to come and join us. We're thankful for the questions. We would welcome more interactions with you. So again, if you would like to, feel free, go to www.gordon.edu/nursing. Has some detail there. If you scroll down a little bit on the page, you'll see Patty's email. So you can go ahead and email her directly. When the appropriate time comes, we would love to have you come visit campus, see Gordon if you haven't been here already, so that you can see some of the labs and some of the classrooms, get a chance to meet some people. So with all that said, if you get the opportunity, we'd love to see you in person at some point, considering Gordon. And if you do have further questions, feel free to send them along. We'd love to answer them. So thank you again for joining us, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
Good night.